Yeah, here with me is Victor Davis Hanson, Hoover Institute Senior Fellow. You just saw what was being said. I guess they're going all the way back to 2020, saying that those riots were Trump's fault. They're saying that, I guess, going in and instilling the law or rounding up illegals, that for some reason that's Trump's fault that people are coming out and attacking ICE agents.
Yeah, their view is that it was moral to break the law and let in 12 million people illegally, and it's amoral to enforce it. But it's a larger issue, Joey, because we've settled this in the United States 190 years ago with the nullification crisis of 1830 or the Civil War. States do not have the right to appropriate federal property or nullify federal law. And so this is taking sanctuary cities to a new level. So basically they're saying we in Portland or Oregon or Chicago, we have the right to override federal law as we please, and we don't have to protect the rights, the civil rights of U.S. citizens because they're Portlanders first and you Americans second, and you federal people have no jurisdiction. It's kind of like George Wallace in 1963 at the University of Alabama saying, I'm not going to follow federal law. Alabama is a state unto itself.
You know, Karen Bass, she says that Trump wants to turn the military against our own citizens. Let's take a listen to this.
The President of the United States wants to turn the U.S. military against the American people and to tell law enforcement that they are now unleashed and they can use their guns is essentially saying go in primarily inner city communities and shoot people.
You know, listen, none of us want totalitarian government. None of us want our military turned against us. What's happening with the Trump administration is pretty obvious. Crime is out of control, was in D.C. and places like Chicago, and the federal government has a job and a responsibility to deport people that are here illegally. I feel like, you know, we had a guest on just a few minutes ago said this is a 90-10 issue, and the election showed that. Are American people going to fall for this trope that somehow the National Guard presence is Trump trying to attack American citizens?
No, I hope not, but you're right. They're taking an issue that has the deportation of mostly criminal illegal aliens that has overwhelming American support, and they're trying to create such chaos and confusion that the American people who watch this will sort of go in a fetal position, put their hands figuratively over their ears and say, make it all go away. It's Trump. If Trump will just stop it, it'll all go away. And then the issue's forgotten that they're trying to enforce the law, and the federal government has jurisdiction to return people to their home country that are here illegally. Most of them in this first round of deportations who are here illegally, but they don't want to talk about that issue. They're really neo-Confederate nullificationists. They're basically saying LA is a sovereign entity, Portland, and we do not have to obey the laws of the federal government. We're secessionists, except when they want federal money, and then of course they're all integral parts of the United States.
Yeah, it seems like even parts of L.A., when we look at how they're treating the victims from the wildfire, it just depends on where you are and who you are, how much they want to let the federal government help or even help themselves at all. Maybe from all this, Doctor, maybe we'll get a right-leaning California. I doubt it, but maybe people will see what's going on and wake up.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, there's people in California that are sick of it. The problem is that if you're tired of what they did to California, you shouldn't leave because we've lost about 8 million people. You need to stay here and reclaim California for the sane people. But it's very hard when you have mayors like we have in Portland, Oregon, or California because they don't believe in the sanctity of law and they don't believe in the civil rights of their own citizens. They're citizens in these neighborhoods who have no calm, no security, their civil rights are being violated. The agents themselves, their civil rights are being violated to be assaulted, and no one will protect them.
That's exactly right.
And so the federal government has an obligation to protect their own civil rights.
Victor, thanks for joining us and bringing your expertise, and we'll just hope at least Americans see what's happening here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.